deal with each one, that's it. You don't have to scan through the whole set of exams.
You cannot just change the grade for that rubric and it will be reflected?
Well, no, I'm talking about removing the rubric.
Yeah, I will put a 0 then.
No, the problem
I'll
is
put minus 0. And I'll put a grade of minus 0. So that's...
If you put a 0, maybe you want, and I'm talking about the situation where you want to do something else. You want to put 0 and to put minus. مش minus 1. هي minus 1. If you just change it, it will change. But if you just want to remove the rubric, okay? طيب. So let me just go back to the. Okay. Let me come here. So let me show you now. This is the example that I wanted to show you. This is a midterm question from ICS 104, a programming question, and look at the type of this question. I want to talk about the type of this question. Write Python program that finds either summation or product of even integers in the interval inclusive. The program proceeds as follows. It prompts, validate if the inputs are valid. So in this program, actually the student is being told to do everything. You need first to do this, then you need to do that, then you need to do this, then you need to do that, then you need to do this, then you need to do that. So things are kind of specific. Now, for the rubrics for this type of question, it was kind of straightforward, although it was a little bit long. Why? Because we can actually build on these points that we have put, right? So if you see the rubrics that have been chosen in this case, and again, now this is another feature in the full Gradescope that did not exist in the basic Gradescope, which is the ability to group rubrics. So if I don't have to group rubrics, I will end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It will be very long. صح? In this case, you can actually group them. So I have group 2, which is something is wrong in reading the inputs as strings, right? Something is wrong in converting the inputs to integers and validating them. Now these are all related to part number 1. Then something is wrong in the loop or loops reading the inputs. Something is wrong in finding the summation. Something is wrong in finding the product. And then finally, solution is missing or totally wrong. And in each one of them, I have a list and that I can choose from. So let's now go to this rubric in Gradescope, and let's for example. Is this? No, this is not the one.
Not the one.
Oops. Fine. Okay. Yeah, this is the one. So as you can see here, this is the group under the 2. Okay. So reading the starting integer as a string is missing or wrong. Reading the ending integer as a string is missing or wrong. Reading the choice as a string is missing or wrong. And I'm giving a value to each one. As I said, if you change the value here for any submission, it will be changed to all students that this has been applied. Another thing which is very nice. This is 2, صح? Look at what is being used here. QWERTY, QWE, 3 letters that are next to each other. So, for example, when I grade this, I will go 2, and then I will check. Is there anything wrong? I will choose them if they are. If everything is fine, I'll just leave it. Yes?
Can you adjust this shortcut?
Yes, I can adjust the. Can I adjust the total? Yes, I can adjust the total by going to the outline again.
The shortcuts.
The letters Q, A, B, C.
Oh, the shortcuts Q? No. I cannot. But it's actually made very simple because you have the numbers in the above the keyboard, and then just next to them you have the Q, W, E, R. So it goes.
And it's optimizing your fingers.
Exactly. It's optimizing the way you use it.
It's assumed that you use the keyboard in a certain way.
Yes.
People are different.
Right. So this is one, and then for example, if you look at something is wrong in converting the inputs to strings, let's go to the loops. Something is wrong in the loops, for example. The whole loop is missing, loop is present, but the proper way of starting the loop is missing or wrong. Loop is present, but the proper way of ending the loop is missing or wrong, and so on and so forth, right? And again, if there is something which needs to be specific, for a specific student, you can actually put it here and do the deduction that you like. So this is, again, it's kind of straightforward, but it will take a little bit more time because you need now to read the code one by one, right? Right. So now. Okay, so these are the examples for the groups of. By the way, the groups of rubrics, once you create one of them, if you create another assignment, you can import. You can import these groups of rubrics. If they are very similar, or you can import them. You can also import them from different questions in the same exam, or in the same assignment that you are grading. You can import from a different question. Okay. Fine. Yes.
In that example of this or that, how did you manage the or?
Okay, that's a very good question. I forgot to talk about. You have two modes. You have select many and select one. So you can, if you want, you can define a rubric, and then you put, for example, either the submission is a serious submission or it is not serious. And you don't want by mistake to, mark both. Then instead of select many, you say select. You have both options. This one, for example, select many. You can select more than one. You can have more than one deduction. If you want to choose only one of options, you can use select one. Right. Okay, so this is the question that came in the final. And now you will see how this question was actually different from the question of the midterm. The question here says, write Python function, def majority the list, that takes as an argument a list of integers and returns a majority element and its frequency in the list. A majority element is defined as the most frequent integer appearing in the list. And then we give, sample, lists and the answer so that we make sure that the student understands the question. Now, if you look at the solutions to this question, there were actually more than 4 or 5 different solutions. And when I say different, I really mean different solutions. Some students used dictionaries, some students used nested loops, all types of answers you can anticipate here. This is the hardest type of questions, or this type of questions is basically the hardest to come up with a rubric for it. So this is this is the rubric basically that we came up with. Solution is generally correct, and when I say is generally, for example, if there is a syntax mistake or something, usually we don't care much about that, especially in this case. Solution attempt is serious but with some mistakes. This is -5. Solution attempt is too specific or poor. This is -8. And then So basically, if you look at between 2 and 3, if there is something wrong, I need to choose between 2 and 3. Now, it would have been better, if we put them in a group, but for some reason we did not, right? But you could have chosen, we should have chosen one of these two if there is a mistake. And then, solution does not correctly find the frequency of the majority element because maybe the attempt is correct or part of the attempt is correct. Or sometimes you just see somebody who just is putting lines of code without any reasoning or logic. So in that case, they might also need lose some points. We have here, nothing is correct, minus 20, and these were actually, I did not came up with 8 and 9, overall deduction and deduction. It seems that the other graders who were grading this question, they thought, we might need an overall, deduction or deduction.
And from the point of design of rubrics, seeing serious and poor, is not a rubric actually.
Well, here
poor attempt, serious attempt.
Yeah, if you look at the code, you will realize whether it is serious or.
No, but different instructors will define serious differently, right?
That's right, and if the student is right, he can do a regrade request. In fact, this is what we did. Let me talk about regrade requests.
This is not about Gradescope, I think the definition of the rubric.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Actually, coming up with the rubrics might be the most important part in the whole thing. And if you want to be objective 100%, you're going to be spending a lot of time. But do we really have to have 100% objectivity? The answer is no, because the student will always look at what the number of points he got, and he can always come back to us. And this is what happened in the final.
Yeah, I don't want to spend much time here, Dr. Rossi, but I think this is not the right approach, to put some injustice, assuming that if people feel unjust, they can ask for their rights.
Am I putting injustice?
So you are saying that he can...
Unintentionally, I'm putting injustice. Yes, I don't put injustice. If I unintentionally, be unjust.
Maybe I'll comment on what Dr. Rahman is saying. I think he has a valid point in the sense that a student, when he looks at the rubric, he's going to think, you're basically claiming that I was not serious in my code. I was completely serious when I wrote the code, but you said that it's not serious. You see? So you're kind of giving the student now some leverage to argue with you that you gave me the incorrect...
When you see the samples that were marked like this, you will know that nobody's going to argue.
Blackboard also allows to define the rubrics and make the grading. How do you compare this Blackboard rubrics and this Gradescope?
No. To tell you the truth, and I haven't used the Blackboard rubrics, but I'm pretty sure that this one is much better from using it. I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but I don't know. الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أحبب حبيبك هونا ما عسى يكون بيضا. I'm not applying it here. I don't know why.
Yeah, so basically you can use the same approach for multiple choice questions, right?
Yes.
Now, in the case where you have different versions of questions, how do you have to create, say, rubrics or answers?
This is something that I haven't dealt with. Having different versions, because if you have different versions, then this means that you might need to create different assignments. Okay, this is one thing. The other thing is, if you are going to use a bubble sheet, then you can actually have, divide the bubble sheets by code and do it. But anyway, since we already have the ICTC center does that, I don't worry about this. But for example, you are right when I talk about, like, if I have multiple sections and I want to use different quizzes. Then if I want to put them in the same, then I have to, I haven't figured that out yet. You know, what is the best way to deal with multiple versions? I haven't figured that out.
They have to be multiple assignments.
Yes. But the problem is if you have multiple assignments, like when you want to download the grade, because everything is in one place. By the way, since I don't have sections or whatever, everything is there. Students, for example, when they used to switch between sections, they take the quiz with another section. I don't have to worry about anything because it's already taken care of. Okay. Fine. No time for the activity. So the advantages, of course, of having a good rubric is for certain questions we can get assistance from research graduate assistants in grading midterm or final exams. And one of the problems that we usually have is we are not allowed to use, maybe to have graders to help us in grading. But if we use Gradescope and if we are sure that some of these questions are very straightforward to grade, we can actually get help from graders. Fine. Let me talk about regrade requests and then we will see if there is time if you would like to play with grading. Fine. So after we finish grading, we publish the grades, and the nice thing about Gradescope, it sends an email to each student with his grade and with the statistics, and you can actually customize the email to include any message that you want. Okay, so let me see if I can do it. Let's, for example, go here. Yeah, so compose email to students. Okay, so this is the message body. Your midterm programming has been graded. You can access your grade submission using the link below. It gives the link for the thing. And these are the statistics, your ICS 104 common instructors. Now, if you want to add, for example, anything regarding regrade requests or whatever, you can actually add them here. That you have until tomorrow at whatever time, to have a regrade request. Yes.
But if we have multiple sections with multiple instructors, they are all using Gradescope, but we have, for example, a common exam. Do we have to create a section for the exams only, or we can? Well,
you can, as you see here, and I have just like in Blackboard, we have one common and one for each instructor. This is what I do. So you see ICS 104 common. This is for the midterm and the final grading. And of course, if we had the homeworks, because the homeworks are also common, students could submit the homeworks there. And then I have ICS 104 WASFI. This is for my class or my classes. And I usually have one, if I have multiple sections, I use the same. Okay.
Since now you are giving students more information and feedback, did you notice more of negotiations and about the grade, about the marks, and well, that's same?
No. Yes, there is much more. Let me show you regrade requests for the final.
It's not good, you give people their rights, they'll ask for it.
No, but this is. Okay.
If you give them
let
they will abuse it.
Final programming. Let's see the regrade requests here. This is, by the way, the regrade request that we received for the final exam. How many are there? Well, you can a little bit less than 100. we had يعني 100, but we made it very clear two things. The first thing we said in the email that if you ask for a regrade, your grade can go up or also can go down. Although we never applied it, yani. Although we never applied it. The second thing is if you think that your code is correct, rewrite the code. Because in the regrade request, the student can actually rewrite the code. Because in fact, when I was grading the solutions that I have not seen before, I had to actually put them in Jupyter and run them and make sure that they are correct. So if the student, for example, claims that his solution is correct, or if he says that he made a small mistake, we actually told the students, rewrite the code, and although maybe we did not do that, but maybe next time, each line that you changed, just add a comment. This has been, or this is different. This is different. But it should run 100% correct. Now, when we did that, in fact, we did receive, let me show you some of the, by the way, you can also here, you can grade by grader. You can see, for example, each grader, how many did he do. So for example, let's look at this one.
How to avoid conflict if you have multiple graders?
Say that again.
How to avoid conflict if you have multiple graders? Is there a possibility that two graders will grade the same?
In fact, what we try to do in the final is one takes care of all the regrade requests so that it becomes kind of fair. Instead of two, one of them might be harsh, one of them is not that harsh. One takes care of all of them. And in fact, on that day, I was invited to my brother-in-law in Ras Al Noura. They had Mansaf, and there was no way that I was going to skip that. So I told them I will grade until 5. It took me maybe 5:10 or 5:15, but I finished it before leaving. It took me 1 hour 15 minutes to see more than 50, 60 regrade requests.
So two graders cannot work at the same time?
No, they can.
But how do you rate it? How to administrate it?
The system administrates it.
But there is a possibility that they will go to the same questions.
No. Here, what will happen is only in this case. If you move to the next ungraded paper, and then you leave your screen.
Okay.
Now, if this was not graded by you, it might be assigned to somebody else. So if you leave your screen, for example, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, don't try to grade. Just go backwards and then go forward. Maybe somebody else graded it.
Okay, so
But if you are online, this should not happen.
System will not allow another one.
Will not allow another one to grade the same question.
Or you can divide
The same question for the same paper. No, you don't need to divide. You don't need to divide. You just you can be actually smart by pressing next until you find something which is blank. You grade it, you continue. So you finish all the blank ones very quickly, and it will be part of your
So when you finish grading the entire exam, does the marks they get transported to Blackboard like you normally do?
No, you
or
in fact,
you have to do that manually?
Well, well, I don't know after the integration. I think they should be available on Blackboard.
Probably.
But before integration, even without integration, what you do is you come here.
File to upload.
how do I know my version now is full or basic?
Oh, you will know. Right now it is full. for all the university, and please use it so that the university يعني renew it the next year.
By my email, by my account, KFUPM.
Yeah. Just go to Gradescope.
I have been using this for a very long time, using KFUPM email. So now when I log in,
it will be the full version. Okay. So if you go to review grades here, now of course you can order them from highest to lowest, and if you want to do the best average worst, you can see, for example, the maximum is 40, median is 22, mean is 21. So for example, this is the maximum, so open link in new tab, 22 or 21 if you come here. And this is much faster than Gradescope, much faster than Blackboard. So this is 22. I will say open link in new tab, and then of course to get the least. Well, if you want 0, if you want, it's up to you. Yeah.
You have people that made 0.
Yes. Let's see this 0. By the way, this is the very nice thing about Gradescope. Using the wheel of the mouse, you can actually zoom in and like this if something is not that clear, right? So the guy did not write anything yet.
He wrote his ID correct.
Okay, so now you can come here, for example, if you want to take this as the minimum. This is download graded copy, and you can basically download it, and you can come here. Oh, this is the graded copy. As you can see, it will show you all the markings, and you just save it. Download the graded copy, and then you save it for the best average.
Can you just open the graded copy?
Open the graded copy? Yes.
So only this is the page that adds the rubrics?
Yeah, this is the page, and you can see the ones that have been applied are checked. So this is the, now of course here you didn't...
There is no writing on his writing?
There was no writing.
Unless you include it.
Unless I include writing. If there is, let me see if we can, I can very quickly choose, maybe let's see if we can see some writing here. No writing.
You can include one.
I don't want to play. طيب, let me.
شوف واحد من هالأصفار هذول doesn't matter.
كيف؟ لا I want you are tempted to write when when somebody has a small mistake. Let's look at this 38, for example. 38 out of 40. Well, it seems there is no writing.
Go to the first one and say good work.
You want me to add writing, Yani? Yeah, this is good. So let's go here. And let's go to this guy. Okay, so I'm gonna, for example, this is not model grading, so grade submissions. Again, see, by question, this is 20. Okay, so this is basically a solution. So I can either,
just include the first comment.
Do like this, or include the first comment from here, rubric, right?
Yes.
So basically,
1.
1. That's it. Okay. So now let's go to review grades.
So if you want to save, you don't need to save anything.
No, you don't need to save. ما في لا save ولا شيء. طيب. His name is ثنيان.
Thought I saw Abdussalam.
Abdussalam. Yes.
Okay, so now it's
Oh, he put-
icon. If you
he-
click it, maybe.
He put one. If you click it, it will take you here. So now, after seeing this, I'm not going to use it. But the markings that you do on the with the pen, it's appearing. Okay.
بس على الأقل يعرف الروبريك where
Yes.
where is it لما تحط له one jump formula يعرف إنه هذا. He knows
it's already
this
there.
is talking
Yes.
It will be ticked already.
by question. أحيانا في comments.
By the way, in this case, you see this is the one. This is for question 1, and as you can see, this is the check mark. You know, solution is generally correct. Okay. طيب. Okay, so as I said, you know, regrade requests do not get buried in your emails. Now, this is what happened. I promised you I'll talk about this. You know, you remember the regrade request that has not been dealt with? This was where? This was here, I think. Yes. See, when you open Gradescope, if there are still pending regrade requests, they will appear when you go to that course. So now you see here there is one, and it's good that I forgot. I forgot and I saw it, but I didn't deal with it. Now this is, by the way, this is assignment 5, and it seems that the student, because I forgot and I left the regrade request setting. I kept it open. I did not put a limit. Look at what he writes. Sorry to bother you after the final exam. This is assignment 5. Sorry to bother you after. It seems he was trying to collect as many points after the final exam period, but I didn't get a chance to check the marks until now. In question 1.1, the 5 pairs mentioned in the justification for the lost points are stated implicitly in my answer. Okay? And then, of course,
His English is good, by the way.
Since the question did not ask for them, and since they are easy to extract, I did not feel the need to
I think you should give it for the language.
state them explicitly.
Even for the logic, so
This is the nice thing, and I wanted to show you. I wish I could, but some students really rewrote the code that they have written in the final exam, and all what I did was just copy paste to Jupyter Notebook, run it, and it was running perfect, and they got all the marks. Even if they had, you know, a small problem, if that problem, you know, maybe they lost 1 point or 2 points out of 20. Okay, this is great, and I really believe that, you know, the regrade requests, although they might be kind of, you know, for the free riders, the students might think, well, I'm not going to lose anything. I'll just send the regrade request to, that's it. But for example, in the final exam, we told them that if you want to have a regrade request, you need to make sure that you mention exactly, you know, which rubric, you know, was not, you know, or you wanted to apply or whatever, and we will not look at, you know, my grade does not work. And still, students, you know, will send me, you know, my grade does not make sense. He got 0, and I was prompted, you know, I wanted to write to him, well, if you write nonsense, of course you will get a nonsense grade. But خلاص, you just say no change. In fact, I was putting it in cut and paste, يعني no change. Control V, or hit enter. Control V, hit enter. Control V, hit enter. As I told you, I reached my minsaf and I finished all the regrade requests. In my opinion, this is one of the best advantages of Gradescope. Yani, just the fact that students go back and try to extract marks by trying to understand their answer and to understand where are the mistakes that they did, and in my opinion, this is part of learning.
So you have 100 points out of what, 300?
Out of 324, we received around 80 to 90.
Too much.
30%.
But as I told you, 80 to
How many
90,
were actually?
80 to 90, actually that I really looked at, maybe less than 30% or 35%. Because as I said, many of them, they will say, "I will just send it."
And how many were really affected by regrading?
The ones that had, a correct answer and it was misunderstood by the grader, there were actually 2 or 3. They got more than 10, 12 points extra.
This is important, especially for the final exam, because usually there is no chance to review.
صحيح. No, but alhamdulillah, our exam was Wednesday.
Yeah.
We finished grading Thursday evening. 4 p.m. Friday was the deadline for the regrade request, and by Saturday our grades were submitted, and alhamdulillah, I was very happy. I'm against this multiple choice questions for programming courses, but we got 40 out of 100 points in the final exam just for grading for Rabi. So instructors also learn from regrade requests because you can see solutions that you never thought of. I personally learned from these regrade requests. Best practices regarding regrade requests: determine a due date, don't leave it open, like what I did now, or I show you, and handle them after the due date, not before. Why? Once I started handling them before the due date, and the student kept arguing. I will send submitted, and then he will argue back, and I agree, and he argue back 3-4 times. So I learned my lesson. Don't do the regrade request. Don't handle regrade request until after the due date, so that no arguing happens. And by the way, if some student, for example, one student, he did not, rewrite the code, but somehow he had access to one of the, lab instructors who contacted me, and he said, can you please? He had a regrade request, but it seems he did not read the instructions properly, or he put it before the instructions were put. So I looked at him without a regrade request. As you can see, if you change anything, there is no save. Until once you change anything, it is changed. خلاص. If you leave the browser, it is basically saved. So we also gave him his. So to download, sort by grade, open best average, download the graded copy and give it a proper file name. The following was done in less than 26 minutes. I downloaded the best average worst of 2 assignments, 3 quizzes, midterm and final. And this 26 minutes included correcting a mistake. I copied a midterm best on a quiz 1 best, and I had to fix it. The 26 minutes also included the correcting that mistakes. Last but not least, there are many more features in Gradescope, such as grading programming assignments and automatically generating similarity reports. Oh, this is great. This is great. And I remember when we were given the full version, in the second offering of ICS 104, the assignments, because by the way, Gradescope is Turnitin. The
parent computer.
Yeah. Gradescope gives you similarity report, and it will give you all the students who have, very similar, like 100%. It shows you, 100% similarity. I remember until now what we did in the first homework assignment. The first homework assignment, the programming was very short. So it is expected to have 100% similarity. So I put an announcement and I said, you might receive an email or you might see a comment, that this is 100% similar to and certain IDs. This is understandable because the code is short, but later on, for the more serious or bigger homework assignments, this will not be accepted and it will be dealt with as cheating. And I think it had the greatest effect. Because now students know if they copy code from somebody else, the 100% will show on the screen. And they cannot deny it. Even if they try to change variable names, even if they try to do things, it seems Gradescope handles it. It doesn't now depend on the graders seeing this and then seeing that and then saying, oh, these look the same. No. If Gradescope will take care of that. And in my opinion, this is again a very good feature of Gradescope. There is also AI-assisted grading, which I didn't talk about, or we didn't have. In fact, we didn't have even manual grading. We haven't seen it. Online exams, I haven't tried it, but also they have the ability to give, to have online exams. I think maybe I will stop here. I hope I didn't bore you to death.
We have on Wednesday, Dr. Wajih, complimentary 1 hour to Gradescope. So we'll see you, inshallah, on Wednesday as well.
Example of the advanced feature. Example, give us example.
Example of?
Promote, Dr. Wajih, promote your
my apologies when I said the title for Dr. Wasfi's workshop. I wrote basic, but he, mashallah, I think covered most of what I was planning to cover, or at least part of what I was planning to cover. So with your permission, Doctor, can you send me your PowerPoint presentation so that I select, see what are the things that you maybe did not focus on, and I'll try
I format my laptop.
But inshallah, the other one is going to be online, so from the comfort of your house or from your office, you can attend. And inshallah, I'll try to focus on certain things that Dr. Wasfi did not focus on.